Hi guys, I'm Michelle from The Recipe Bandit, and today we're going to be making a traditional Canadian favorite. I love this recipe. This is a wonderful recipe. It's something very different. If you've never tried it before, you should. It's kind of like Canadian shepherd's pie. I don't know who knows it, but I grew up in Canada, and my family was French Canadian, and we grew up eating what's known as tourtière or meat pie. And I thought this was something everybody did until I moved to the United States and found out that no, this is not something that everybody does, but it's something everybody should know how to make. It's actually really delicious. It is a regional favorite in Canada, which means that different regions make it different ways. The meat included might vary from place to place. What it's served with might vary from place to place, as well as the amount of seasonings. Where I grew up in Alberta, and I learned to make it this way. My dad used to make it this way. All of my aunties made it this way. So we are going to do that. We're going to take some shortcuts today, but this little French Canadian meat pie, this tourtière, if you haven't tried it and you want something savory and delicious, and it's like Canadian comfort food. It's honestly, it's just excellent. We eat it usually Christmas, New Year's, and through the winter months. This recipe that I'm going to make today does make two pies, and they are pie size, pie size, deep dish pie size. And typically we'll make one and freeze one. Tonight we're going to have dinner guests, so we're going to cook them both. Let's talk about the ingredients and then also the shortcuts that I'm going to take today, because I want to make it faster. I don't have to be traditional, just as taste is good. And it will. Okay, so let's talk about the meat first. This tourtière, or French Canadian meat pie, uses a combination of ground beef and ground pork. So we are going to brown up the pork and the beef and the onions and the spices. We are also going to then mix in mashed potatoes, cornflakes, and some spices. Now, the spices are very warm winter spices. We have nutmeg, cloves, allspice, garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, some kosher salt and pepper. We're going to mix all of these together. And then the part that ties it all together is brown gravy. So this is the first of the shortcuts I'm going to use. Normally I have leftover gravy. If we have a roast, I'll save the gravy and I'll freeze the gravy to use this. But I found in the last few years that I don't always have that. So guess what? Grocery store sells it in a jar. They also sell it in a package. You can make it up. You need 1 cup of brown beef gravy. Doesn't matter how you get it, you need 1 cup. You also need mashed potatoes, like I mentioned before. Don't use instant for this. It just doesn't pull it together right if you use instant. It's better just to take some mashed potatoes left over, freeze them, or make up a cup and a half of mashed potatoes for this. Now, there's 2 more shortcuts that I'm going to use. While we do on our website, make homemade pastry. I don't have time today. I don't have time today. I don't want to. So we are going to use frozen deep dish pie crusts, 2 of them. Any brand, doesn't matter, you want to thaw them out. And then we are going to use the roll and bake pie crusts for the tops. We're also going to brush with an egg, which apparently I didn't bring out here, but we'll need an egg too, but that's at the very, very end. So let's go ahead and get started, because this is one of my favorite recipes, and this is something that a lot of people come to my website at The Recipe Bandit for. So if you want to make something different, something that is still comfort food, but maybe not American, you should try this. This is kind of fun. When serving, the way that it's eaten and what it's eaten with also vary by region. I like it with ketchup. My family likes it with gravy. Everybody likes it differently. But here's one thing that is standard across the board. This is delicious. It's Canadian comfort food, and it's worth trying. So let's get started. So we are going to begin by browning the ground pork over medium-high heat. We brown it by itself and get this one done first. Be sure to stir the mixture occasionally as it cooks. What you're trying to do is cook it until there's no pink left. So you can see the pink here, that's uncooked pork. And while we don't have to worry about making sure that it's 100% cooked, we really do want it to be at least the majority of the way through. It's almost done here. You can see that there's not really any pink left. We're not seeing any pink. So we are going to be okay to remove this from the heat, drain it, and then we're going to put it into a large bowl. We have drained the fat off of our ground pork using a colander. We are going to use the biggest bowl we can find, and we are going to use this bowl to start combining all of our pie ingredients. So now that the ground pork is drained, we're going to put it into the bowl and we're going to set it aside. We are then going to go ahead and put the pan back on the heat, turn it back on to medium-high again, and we are going to cook our ground beef. Now, we don't need to wash the pan. We are going to add the onions into the pan, and we're going to stir those around, and we're going to soften them at the same time as we are cooking the ground beef. We are also going to go ahead and add all of the spices. So we're going to add the allspice, the nutmeg, the ground cloves, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder, and our kosher salt and pepper. We're going to go ahead and stir this and brown the ground beef over medium-high like we did with the ground pork. And once this is cooked through, we are going to add it to that great big bowl. Just like the ground pork, while we're cooking, we want to be sure that you're stirring occasionally. It helps to mix in all of those spices that we added, and it also helps to make sure that all of the meat gets cooked. So come and stir it once in a while. Oh my goodness, you guys, as I'm cooking this, the smell of these spices all together in this ground beef is, oh, it's so good. It smells so good. Now we are to the point where we're almost done with the ground beef. You might be wondering, how can I even tell with all of those spices in there? You can tell because the meat has tightened up. There's not any parts that don't look uniform. Everything kind of looks about the same size and about the same color. And we are going to bake these pies in the oven for an hour, so the meat being undercooked is not really something you need to worry too much about. We are going to go ahead and remove this now from the heat. We're going to drain it, and then we're also going to add it to that great big bowl. All right, I'm back, and I've moved my very big bowl full of ground pork over here to this side now. We have just drained our ground beef, onions, and spices. We're going to add this to the bowl. Here, what we have left is the mashed potatoes, cornflakes, and our little cheater gravy that I'm using. The purpose for the big bowl is so that when we mix all of these things together, because this is the contents of our pie, so we want to be able to really stir this together. So you can see as I'm mixing, the ground pork and the ground beef are all getting combined. We are going to go ahead and we are going to add our mashed potatoes into this mixture. We are also going to add our cornflakes. Now, these cornflakes are crushed. They kind of serve the same purpose as breadcrumbs would, to just pull it all together and make it a little more solid when you cut it. They don't have any flavor that adds to it, but doesn't take away from anything either. So regular cornflakes, not frosted flakes, regular cornflakes, crushed, and make sure you measure them after you crush them. So we have a half a cup of crushed cornflakes. And then this little cheater jar of gravy says that it has about 5 servings at a quarter cup each. So we need a cup. We're going to pour the majority of this gravy into this mixture. So as you stir all of these contents together, you can see, I mean, it really just it mixes really nicely. This is your pie filling. This is it. We're going to divide this mixture evenly between the 2 pie shells. You're just going to push it down, make an even layer in each pie shell. These look perfect. Okay, ready to be covered. All right, so I've gone and gotten my little cheater roll up pie crusts out of the refrigerator. I'm going to unroll this just like this. And we are going to lay this on top of one of the pies. Just kind of so that you know where the edges are. right? Like that. All right, with the second one, we're going to do the same thing. Then we're going to get a knife. We're going to cut off all of the excess. This is just really easy to do. Get rid of all of that. And then we're going to take a fork. We're going to pinch the edges so that the roll-up pie crust and the frozen bottom pie crust are sealed on the edges. This is all crimped all around the edges. We are just going to very quickly with our knife take off the excess one more time. Okay, push it out of the way. Then we're going to cut, I usually cut 3. So we'll do 6 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and there we go. All right, so I've just preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to cook these pies for an hour at 350. But before I do, I want to do an egg wash on them. And the point of doing an egg wash is to make the top golden brown. They will turn out just fine if you don't do the egg wash, but I've really found that I like the way that it looks, I like the way that it tastes, and so we do it. To do an egg wash is very, very easy. You just take an egg, crack the egg into a bowl. We add just about a tablespoon of water, just water. And then we just beat the egg. We typically only do it with a fork. You can use a whisk if you like, but it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to combine that egg and the water a little bit. You want it to be a little bit frothy, just kind of like that, where it's all mixed up. And then you're just going to take a pastry brush or any little brush of any kind, and you're just going to paint the main part of the pie and the crust edges with this egg wash. These have the egg wash on them now. We're going to put them into the oven, 350 degrees for an hour. All right, guys, they are out of the oven. Oh my gosh. They smell so good. I'm so excited. Look at that. Look. Oh, this is an amazing dinner. It's 100% comfort food. It's delicious, it's traditional, and it's something different. Thank you for letting me show you guys this recipe today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for learning something new. Thanks for being a little part of my childhood. The recipe for these French Canadian meat pies, or tourtière, is in the description, but it's also on our website at therecipebandit.com, along with a lot of other recipes for really great things. I'm so excited for this dinner. Excited to have shared this with you guys today. Thank you so much. If you like us, subscribe to us, please. Come back and visit us. We're putting videos out every week. So hope we see you back again soon. Thanks.